Elite Facts presents
11 end-of-the-world predictions that turned out wrong.
11.
Montanus. Montanus was an early heretic in Christianity who predicted that the end of the times were upon the world. Joined with two prophetesses, Montanus claimed to be the embodiment of the Holy Spirit and began to preach a third testament. Montanus's beliefs became fairly widespread and caused a great deal of confusion and dissent within the early Christian church. Tertullian, the Christian writer, rejected mainstream Christianity and converted to Montanism. Montanus was eventually condemned at the Council of Ephesus in 431 AD. Interesting fact, Montanus taught that Turkey would become the New Jerusalem and that all of Christianity would settle there before the final judgment.
10.
Charles Wesley. Charles Wesley, one of the founders of the Methodist Church, believed that the world was going to end in 1794. This view concurred with that of the Shakers, who also predicted that year as the end. Despite his error, Charles's brother John also later made a prediction of the end times. John predicted that 1836 would be the year that the great beast would come to earth, marking the beginning of the end. Despite being a founding member of Methodism, Charles Wesley begged an Anglican minister to bury him in an Anglican graveyard, stating, quote, "Sir, whatever the world may say of me, I have lived and I die a member of the Church of England."
9.
Jehovah's Witness predictions. The Jehovah's Witness religion has made a number of predictions about the end of the world. The first was 1914. They based their prediction on prophecies from the book of Daniel. After the end did not come, they changed the meaning of the prediction and stated that it was the date that Jesus would begin to rule invisibly. Yes, invisibly. Some other years that the group has predicted the end of the world to come are 1914, 1915, 1918, 1920, 1925, 1941, 1974, 1994, etc. If they keep predicting year after year, eventually they may get lucky, right? One member of the cult actually built a house for the Jewish prophets to live in when they returned to Earth as part of the end times. Charles Taze Russell, the founder of the cult, even sold miracle wheat at extremely inflated prices, promising wheat of miraculous proportions.
8.
The Great Disappointment. Between the years of 1831 and 1841, William Miller, a Baptist minister, predicted the return of Jesus and the end of the world based on prophecies in the book of Daniel. Daniel 8:14, quote, "My principles and belief are that Jesus Christ will come again to this earth, cleanse, purify, and take possession of the same, with all the saints, sometime between March 21st, 1843 and March 21st, 1844. The day came and went, and the Millerites kept their faith. After further discussion, the date of the end of the world was changed to April 18th. Again, the day came and went. Again, the date was changed, this time to October 22nd, 1844. Miller continued to wait for the end until his death in 1849. The Millerite religious movement eventually became the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They believed that the prediction was correct and that it referred to an event in heaven, not on earth. They continue to believe that to this day. Members of the Baha'i faith also believe the prediction. They think it referred to the coming of a forerunner of their religion, the Bab.
7.
Joanna Southcott. Joanna Southcott was a self-proclaimed English mystic born in 1750. She was originally a Methodist, but she became convinced that she had supernatural powers and declared herself the woman spoken of in Apocalypse. In the King James Version, Revelation 12, verses 1-6, quote, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Joanna predicted that she would give birth to the Messiah, hailing the end of the world on October 19th, 1814. The world didn't end on that date, obviously, but 2 months later it did end for Joanna when she died. Her followers kept her body for some time in the hopes that she would raise herself from the dead. They finally handed her body over to authorities when she began to decay. Joanna left behind a sealed box which she claims contained a series of prophecies. The box is not to be opened until 24 Anglican bishops gather together for that purpose. Will the secret of Joanna's box ever be revealed?
6.
1910 Halley's Comet. Halley's Comet has always been somewhat of a symbol of doom. as it was a bad omen for whoever was king of England back in the 10th century. Even though Halley's Comet has been visible many times before without any reported deaths, the passing of the comet on May 18, 1910 was thought to be a deathly threat to people because of poisonous gas coming from its tail. It's not only religious misapprehension that can cause apocalyptic panic. This may have been the first time science caused this grave fear. Fun fact, Mark Twain was born in 1835. Halley's Comet had made an appearance that same year. He has been quoted as having said he would go out with the comet. Mark Twain died in April of 1910.
5.
Planetary conjunction. Respected meteorologist Albert Porta predicted that on December 17, 1919, a conjunction of 6 planets would, quote, cause a magnetic current that would pierce the sun, cause great explosions of flaming gas, and eventually engulf the Earth. This prediction led to some mob violence and a few suicides. It also caused Albert to lose his job as a respected meteorologist, and he ended up working for a local paper writing the weather column.
4.
Harold Camping, May and October 21st, 2011. Oh boy, this one. No disrespect to Harold Camping, we're sure he was probably a nice guy and all, but during the whole lead up to the end of the world back in October of 2011, all he did was spout utter nonsense, and yet people followed his every word like sheep. Back in 1992, Camping released a book called 1994, which shows his calculations and beliefs that the rapture would occur on September 6, 1994. The book also mentioned the date October 21st, 2011, as the day the rapture could potentially take place. Well, as it turns out, both theories were absolute duds.
3.
Hale-Bopp Comet. The comet Hale-Bopp was visible to the naked eye for a record 18 months. Amateur astronomer Chuck Schramek observed a companion object following the comet. He then called the Art Bell radio show to report his findings. This led many to believe a variety of end-of-the-world theories. The internet helped spread the word even faster. The Heaven's Gate cult felt this was their signal to commit mass suicide in March of 1997. The cult believed the companion object was a spaceship coming to pick them up, only to be reached by leaving their earthly vessels behind.
2.
Year 2K. Nostradamus, arguably the best-known seer of all time, predicted July of 1999 to be the chosen date of Armageddon. A great king of terror was to descend from the sky. When that didn't come true, the doomsayers began spreading rumors that the Cassini space probe was going to crash on Earth. The Cassini probe was filled with radioactive fuel. If this was spilled in a crash, it would fulfill the prediction in Revelation 8:11, quote, "And the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters, because they were made bitter." And of course, no one can forget the years leading up to 2000 in which doomsayers the world over predicted catastrophe for man due to the Y2K bug.
1.
2012. With Harold Camping's predictions out the window, it was finally time to see if the big one was truly going to be the end of humanity. For the longest time, 2012 was thought to be the end-all be-all of humanity, as December 21st, 2012 marked the end of the first great cycle of the Mayan long count calendar. Many misinterpreted this to mean an absolute end to the calendar, which tracked time continuously from a date 5,125 years earlier, and doomsday predictions emerged. End-of-the-world scenarios included the Earth colliding with an imaginary planet called Nibiru, giant solar flares, a planetary alignment that would cause massive tidal catastrophes, and a realignment of the Earth's axis. Preparations for the end of the world as we know it included a modern-day Noah's Ark built by a man in China and extensive sales of survival kits. Well, needless to say, the whole thing turned out to be a dud.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.